Hi everyone, thank you for joining the Nordic Wire digital conference. Very honored that we are part of the first panel of the day, or the first panel of the conference. Welcome to the panel, Creative Collaborations in Intra-Nordic Songwriting. My name is Nina Finnerud. I'm a project manager at Music Norway, and I'm also the project manager for the Nordic Music Biz Top 20 Under 30, which all of the 3 participants in this panel today are a part of this year's winners, where we celebrate the achievement of the young force driving the Nordic music scene forward. We're going to talk about Nordic collaborations in songwriting today, but first I would like to for everyone in the panel to introduce themselves. Atena, do you want to start with your name, background, and company?
Sure. My name is Atena Banisaid. I work at Sony ATV Music Publishing in Scandinavia. I've been here for almost 3 years now, and I'm a senior A&R manager.
Thank you. Linda?
Hi everyone, my name's Linda Lundberg, and I'm A&R for International at Norwegian music publishing company Arctic Rights Management. I also do management at a Helsinki, Finland-based company called All Good Management. And before COVID, I was also arranging songwriting camps for different organizations and companies, doing consultancy and project management. So a few different hats on my head. And yeah, thank you for having me on this panel.
Yeah, and my name is Walther Walthinsen. I work for Warner Chappell Norway, almost 3 years as well, senior A&R. Based in Oslo, Norway, and that's it.
Thank you, guys, and thank you so much for joining us. A very qualified panel, I would say. As I said, today's topic is songwriting and Nordic collaborations. So, as I think we all can agree on, the Nordics have a history of world-renowned writers and producers, ranging from the likes of Stargate to Max Martin, Caroline Eileen, Ina Rolsen, Shellback, Cutfather, and the list goes on and on and on. I would say relative to our population size, we have a higher average of successful writers-producers. Why do you think this is?
I have a thinking about it. I don't know how it is with the new generation, but I'm 30 years old now. So when I was growing up, I listened to a lot of radio and MTV, and the music we got presented was music that was big hits, I would say. We didn't grow up with big niche radios or anything like that. So I think that really forms our ears and how we are used to music. So that's what I'm thinking about it. Like we are used to getting the big songs and not the things in the middle or below. So yeah, I think that plays a big part of it.
Mm. I also think that, the technical side of the music industry has been a big part of how we've been able to export both music, but also songwriters and artists throughout the years. It hasn't been I don't think we would have been able to do that in the same sense as we have in the past couple of years, especially, with Spotify that came out from Sweden. We had the opportunity before Spotify became as big as it is today. We could have way more space to do marketing, to do playlist stuff before Spotify actually launched in the US or now Russia or Asia or wherever. We were kind of in the forefront of that, and I think that definitely helped in getting names out there early on.
And I think also to add to your comments, there's a lot of creativity and talent coming, and what's that based on? I think an important factor to keep in mind is that we have a great educational system. We've got great language skills, which helps when it comes to, for example, exporting music, because without that language skill, like it's trickier. And speaking of exporting, we also, in all of our countries, have understood that music is a product of export, and that's highly invested in. So I think that's a major factor. So it's a combination of both creative and business talent, which has taken the writers further.
So what are you guys' perspective on the Nordic writing community currently then? How is it developing?
Well, I can bring the Finnish view to this. I mean, I think it's very inspiring and exciting to see how all of the Nordic countries have, like, they're more on a similar level these days. I mean, it's no secret that Finland kind of jumped on the pop train later than Sweden and Norway, for example. And it's only been the last, say, 10 years that we've had these names to look up to from our local market. Look at like Teemu Brunila, Hank Solo, Alma, the list goes on of like success stories from today. And that's something that is very inspiring for us as Finns. But yeah, I think in general it's more equal, but there's still, in general in songwritership, there's a status and hierarchy system going on, which is normal, but that's something we could maybe, think of how to fight and how to push writers on different levels further and reach, different parts of the ladder more easier than just, being on having this stage they're in.
Yeah, and we've always been really important for us to keep that borders open with collaborations. So sending people to Stockholm, if people from Stockholm to Oslo, going to Helsinki. I mean, keep everything open for collaboration. And I think like Norway always been looking up to Sweden in the past, but I mean, latest years we have the big success from Norway as well. So I think the respect is it's there when people go into sessions. I mean, they want to write for Norwegian artists as much as for Sweden artists, or go in together writing for big international artists. I mean, it's all about setting people up with each other and get the most out of each other. So I think it's a must for people to go to Stockholm and to go to Oslo and Helsinki or to Copenhagen. I mean, people should just work and do as much as possible.
On that note, though, how important are Nordic collaborations, and what are the benefits of working intra-Nordic? Say, for example, compared to, or is there a difference compared to, working US, UK, other big markets?
I mean, there are some benefits because it's easier. We still have sort of the same culture. We understand each other. We can almost speak to each other without using English. And of course, time zones difference and stuff like that helps. It's closer to travel. It doesn't need to be expensive. It doesn't need to be difficult. And I think it's more, as Petter was into, that, it's more of an open collaboration. It's easier to get into rooms. It's easier to connect to people. And everyone is just more open, basically. And I definitely think it's also changed a lot with how the trends in music has changed, especially in the past year now, where we've seen more and more local songs and music coming out and taking more and more space and getting more and more popular. And the best thing about music is that, everyone can work with each other. It doesn't matter if it's in English or in Swedish or in France or in Italy. If you have a nice track or awesome beat that somebody likes, that's just a feeling and a vibe. And then an Italian writer can write on it, or a French writer can write on it, or a Norwegian, or a US writer. So that just, it takes down so many barriers and borders, which I think is amazing.
And what Atena mentioned about the local territories as well is, I think it's like something we can benefit of, because we all have very strong local markets as well. And when you think of like working in 4 local markets and having, you know, cuts in 4 different countries versus just in the UK, not, but yeah, then I mean, that's already quite impressive that you've like crossed over to so many possibilities instead of just one market.
And I think us as publishers doing a great job with that. We you know, with crossing our writers together, we have the proof with all the songs coming out with the biggest artists. I mean, if you look at the Dagny or Sigrid, Alan Walker, Julie Bergen, everybody has been a part of the biggest songs has been with Swedish or Norwegian writers together at one point. And yeah, this would just continue happening more internationally as well, especially after Corona. We can speak more about that possibly with remote stuff.
Dagny is a great example. There's, I think, writers from all
Denmark,
the Nordic countries.
Everywhere.
So,
perfect example.
Yeah. Other than Dagny, though, what are from your experience, what has been examples of successful Nordic collaborations?
No, like I said, I mean, the Alan Walker songs we had with him. I mean, even Carpe, the biggest Norwegian rap band. We had Swedish producers doing that, and also one of our producers doing one of their singles, latest singles. I mean, yeah, the list goes on. I mean, if you go on Spotify checking credits, you will see Swedish, Norwegian, Danish, Finnish names. It's part of the music now. Yeah.
That's super exciting.
And I think also to take that on a business level, if I just think about, for example, the company I represent, Arctic Rights, we are consisted of 3 different nationalities based in 3 different countries of the employers that we have. And this same thing can be seen in various other, especially independent label and publishing companies who are joining forces and creating very exciting ventures. So it can also be seen on a business level how this collaboration is you know, been taken further.
I didn't just do on a different note because I forgot in the beginning, but if people have questions for our panelists, please put it in the chat on the stage and we'll go through them at the end. Going back to what you said in the beginning, Petter, about like, you know, growing up with the big hits and the MTV and, you know, and I guess like Max Martin and Stargate, you know, they rose to fame by writing for, you know, the Britney Spears and the Backstreet Boys and like moving forward, how many years now? 20? I'm scared to say it. You know, the music industry has changed massively, and the way, you know, you listen to music, the way you connect with people, everything. Has that affected the songwriting process as well? And what does like kind of the new generation of songwriters look like? Are there any new like kind of Max Martins and Stargates and yeah? Petter, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I have no doubt that we will get more of those. The only thing I feel at the moment is like it's a lot of quantity over quality. I think the session pace is going really quick, and I think especially this year I've been witnessing a lot of people really saying that they're finished with a song, pitching it out before it actually has like that it or that X factor or, you know, that hit potential, or, you know, they're really keen on getting songs out quickly, then really work on one particular song, feeling the goosebumps before they like present it to someone. And I think like for some, they're really digging into one project or 2 projects at a time, but for many right now, they're working across maybe 15, 20 different projects at one time. And I think like if you look back at it, like people really find maybe 1 or 2 artists they really feel has something special that they're picking out and wanted to work on that in particular. But I mean, time will tell, but I think definitely we will have bigger successes. Or I mean, it's hard to do what Max Martin has done, but I mean, I hope we'll see that sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there? Does anyone have anything to add to that? Or
I mean, yeah, just you know, Max Martin. If you just look at that specific group of people who came out, that was a generation that, you know, they worked together, they collaborated, they invited in people to the studio. It was the Chiron studio. And it was this clique, you know, when they grew up together and they helped each other and they supported each other and they just sort of worked their way up together. And we definitely see that happening in Stockholm with the new generation of writers and producers, where there are, you know, people who are working together, who are climbing together, who are pushing each other. And I definitely think that there's so much potential and so much great stuff coming. You know, and I'm super excited about the future, and producers and writers are coming up now. So I definitely think that there's this new generation coming up that's going to hopefully take over from that seat, you know?
Yeah, I agree. And you mentioning like climbing together, I think that's a very important factor to remember, that, you know, it's no point in trying to be the Max Martin, because Max Martin is Max Martin. You want to climb together with someone to create something new and be the new thing, not copycat something that already exists. And that's how the new exciting things happen.
Also, to be fair, Max Martin had Dennis Pop, who was his mentor and who helped him become who he was. And I think it's important to remember that, you know, it's not an overnight thing. People have mentors and they get help, and that's perfectly fine.
So I guess that kind of you know, adds to how important the collaborations are, I guess, and, you know, finding those people that are key to collaborate with. Yeah. So how do you see the reputation of Nordic writers and producers internationally? Do you guys work a lot internationally? And
yeah, I would say that that's what we do mainly in our day-to-day work. I speak English probably 90% of my days. And that's the ambition, and definitely something that we work very hard on every day. And I think that both, you know, I'm based in Stockholm, Sweden, but in general, Scandinavia has such a good reputation in both the US and in the UK. And people talk about Max Martin, and they talk about, you know, the Wolf Cousins or a Shellback or whoever it may be. And we have so many artists that we've exported, everyone from, you know, starting with ABBA to a Sara Larsson or an Astrid S and, you know, Alan Walker. So we definitely have, you know, people look at us and they definitely value us in a way.
Yeah, we're seen as, you know, exotic countries with exotic melodies and exotic vocal takes, and also as very reliable. You know, I think for many people it's like having arranged songwriting camps and sessions, they're always saying like, oh, it's so nice to work with reliable people. You don't need to send that message a day prior to the session saying, hey, are we still on? Because you know you're still on. Like, so.
Yeah, people are working very hard. They're sticking to they have a sense of quality and a feeling about when it's done, it's done. I think when you go to other countries, or especially in the States, I mean, a lot of producers don't know how to do the whole scale of, you know, they cannot engineer, or like they can make the beat and maybe do the arrangement, but I mean, producers in Norway or in Sweden or in Scandinavia, they know the whole chain of how to produce and make a record on a high level. I don't say they don't know that other places, but I think like from the past as well, like we've been known as the writers and producers who really know what to do with their craft, and highly respected. So,
yeah, and I can add to that as well. Like after for Music Norway. I run the UK office for many years, and just the interest in like Nordic kind of songwriters and producers over the year, and kind of like the praise from like at least the UK industry is kind of phenomenal, and it kind of testament to what you all say here. Linda, you mentioned how we are or the exotic kind of language and sound. There's been a lot of or we always hear about this kind of Nordic sound that a lot of people are talking about. What is that Nordic sound?
That's a good question. I think it comes from the language in general, the tonation, how things are said, and how it flows melodically. So I think that has a very important factor in it, and our own languages, which have that influence on when something is said in English, for example. So I think it's a very language-based factor.
Yeah. Any of you else have anything to add on the Nordic sound? Or is there a Nordic sound?
I hear that a lot, especially from Germans who really want that commercial pocket of pop. I mean, they think a lot of the Norwegian stuff is too left. But I think it's the cliches we hear all the time about the weather and being more blue, and I think that's a big part of it. I think we breathe more fresh air and have different thinking.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. We spoke a bit about the new generation, and in Norway and Sweden at least, we have Limpi and Musikmakarna. How do institutions like that kind of contribute to the Nordic writing community? For those of you who don't know, Limpi and Musikmakarna are music schools. Can we call them music schools? With high level of graduates within the songwriting community. Atena?
Yeah.
I would say that it's been very important, and it's definitely been, the school is definitely needed. And it's been amazing to see the artists, the producers, the writers that come out of there. We have, a few of them signed to us from Musikmakarna. And it's good because they have 2 years to sort of learn, develop, go through all the, who am I? Who do I want to be? Learning to have sessions, learning to be quick, but still, working on the quality, learning to hear when something is actually done versus when it's not, or something needs to be worked on. It's been really important, and it's been really good. And I think there's so many talented writers and producers who have come from that. And I'm just happy to see that Limpi is growing, and that's happening in Oslo. And I know that there's a school opening in Denmark as well. And I can't be more ecstatic about it. I think it's amazing.
Petter, do you work closely with Limpi or Musikmakarna, or?
Yeah, Limpi, especially Limpi. I was there the first year with Open. I went in the end of the school year, and we actually signed a female producer that went to Limpi, and we've been working closely with a lot of the other writers and producers been a part of that school. And I think it's amazing because I feel a new session culture in Oslo and in Norway after that school, because people are really getting trained to get in that environment. And I mean, it's a bigger session-driven culture now here, thanks to Limpi. I mean, you go into school, we really feel like how the pace is, how it's going to work in real life. And yeah, I mean, it's everyone who's thinking about going there, they should definitely attend or trying to apply for that school if they feel like learning songwriting, production. I mean, the whole how the world is today when it comes to making music. I think it's really important.
So do you think like institutions like that, I'm calling it an institution, but are kind of like helping to even like, you know, to build that new generation and yeah, just kind of make the Nordic talent even stronger?
I mean, Limpi is a school where it's not only for Norwegians or Scandinavians. It's like they take in people from all over the world, from the United States or the United Kingdom, or like everyone can apply for that school, and I think that brings like that feeling of being on a camp a lot of the times. I think like people open their eyes when it comes to the different types of roles you're going to have in a room, getting exposure to new cultures, genres. I think it's really good. I mean, I feel like post Limpi that is just opened up a lot of new talents for us to work with.
Limpi has had writers from Finland join the school as well and such. And if I think about myself in my youth, I didn't even know songwriting or producing was like a career, a profession to take. So I think it's really important to educate that, you know, there are these kind of schools where you can grow to become a songwriter for a profession, and that's really important. And also it's really exciting to see how these schools create writer networks of their own, and we've also signed writers from Limpi, and it's really amazing how strong their connections amongst themselves are, and the talent coming from there is just fantastic.
Yeah, it's amazing. And you know, the schools are working so well together with the industry and really letting everyone take part and sort of listen to songs and, you know, see the writers and producers development. It's such a great way for you know, aspiring producers and writers, if they want to get into the industry. You know, it's such a great way to do it.
Nice. A bit off topic, but Atena, and going back to Musikmakarna now, Atena, you helped set up a mentor program at Musikmakarna, didn't you, for female producers? Do you want to say a bit about that?
Yeah, so we have a mentorship program for female producers together with Musikmakarna. It's our third consecutive year now, and we have 8 lovely female producers joining us this year. We've, you know, had workshops. We take in mentors who show them how they work, what plugins they use. We talk about, you know, some mental challenges in the industry, but also as a female producer, the challenge of just being a female who wants to take that space, and just trying to make them feel less alone. And I think that's the big issue, that a lot of them feel like, but I'm the only one, which is not true. There are so many female producers who are amazing out there. And now with Corona, we're doing it like this. We're doing it digitally, and it's amazing because we have mentors joining us from all over the world. Just last week we had Tomoka Ida, who joined us from Japan. It was amazing to talk about cultural differences as well. It's been great. And we can see that more and more of the female producers are coming up, and they actually call themselves producers, which just 3 years ago they didn't.
Yeah. Why do you think there is a big gender gap within the producer community?
I just think that the producer role has mainly been very much male dominant. Females have mainly probably been the artists who just, you know, cut the song and then they release it. They're the artists, they do marketing, photographs and things like that. But I think with the years and, you know, us just being more engaged and involved as humans and people, we realized that, you know, there shouldn't be that gap, and females can produce, and it's not a male thing to do, and males can write and sing and be artists as well. So I'm very happy about that, and I really hope that we can just keep pushing it in the right direction, so we see more and more female producers coming up with the years.
Is anything done in like Finland or Norway to kind of promote female producers?
Well, we did start this female networking group for the music industry in general, which has been a great success and support for people to discuss and educate each other. But yeah, on a producer level, I think it's just, you know, the songwriters working together and speaking more openly about it and showing that it's a possibility, and it's not looked upon as something weird these days. It's just more normal, and people are just taken as people, not as genders as much.
We don't have any program in Norway. I think, but we have a lot of new up-and-coming female producers on the rise, and we can only do what we can do with helping them with sessions, share, and make sure that, you know, you cannot set like the level they are on now. It's amazing. I mean, you cannot, if you want to play A and B, you cannot think of a gender. You think of a song in the Bible, like, wow, this is amazing, and people are like, oh, is that for someone? Like, oh, she's a female. Like, I mean, that should just end right now, because, I mean, it has nothing to say. I mean, it's crazy. The level now, it's something else. But I feel like it's a lot of camps that I think a lot of guys wish they could be a part of. That is happening around the world now. That is super dope. I mean, in Asia, in the US, in the UK, I mean, it's like they're doing all female camps all over the place. So it's wonderful.
Yeah, that's great to hear, because as you said, Atena, like, you know, 3 years ago, you know, you might not hear much talk about female producers. So it's good to see that, like, that gap is kind of getting smaller, I guess, and that there is initiatives, but also, you know, I guess a lot of the times it's just for females to feel like confident in calling themselves producers as well, and kind of just taking that role that has been mainly male dominant for so long. Obviously this year, big elephant in the room, and maybe not an elephant in the room, but like everyone's been affected by COVID-19. How has that impacted the songwriting process? Have you managed to work around sessions and things like that? Linda, do you want to start?
Well, traveling happens online these days. I don't think that's anything new to any of us at this point, online sessions and online camps. So yeah, I mean, it's been very individual for all of our writers and artists. Some people find it comfortable and they're totally fine with it. And we've reached amazing results by, you know, networking with loads of new people around the world, which has been great, because suddenly it has felt like the world is even smaller than before. But then there's also writers who don't feel like online is for them, and they've maybe concentrated more on working on a local level and getting more connected, say in Norway where they're based, or in Finland where they're based, and focusing on the national market. But yeah, also one very exciting thing that I've noticed is that a lot of our writers have developed themselves in different ways as well. And like, for example, one of our writer artists, a female, decided to learn production, and she produced her own album this year, which was amazing. And like now she is comfortable in going into sessions as also a producer. So people have been developing their skills, and also top liners are learning more of vocal production so that they can, you know, produce up their own vocals and sessions and after sessions and such. So I think there have been positive effects to this as well. It's just how you want to think of things. But of course, it's been challenging, but we have found ways to work around it as well and to make use of the time.
Petter, has been challenging for you guys? Have you how do you work around sessions? And
I mean, it's writer to writer. I mean, some is embracing it 100%. Some has done over 100 remote sessions, and for others they tried it once or twice and then it was like, it's not for me. I mean, we're not forcing anyone to jump on doing remote. I mean, it's it's difficult. I mean, for some, it's like they're meeting online and they don't have anything to talk about at the moment. I mean, they cannot travel. I mean, they're not exposed to anything else than their own living room, worst case. I mean, it's hard, but for some, they really like get on the phone. They're being really social. They're showing their social skills on another level. And I think people are going to get a big advantage because the door is very open right now. I mean, people can happily jump on a call with a big writer at the moment and get to know them. And when things are opening again, they were probably going to hook up and go to the studio. That was probably difficult before Corona, because then they will like stay in their own lane, you know. But I mean, it's it depends. Writer is different from writer to writer, but it's interesting. I like it. I like the moment right now because it's, for some, they really can dig into themselves as well. I mean, it's reflection time.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But that's great to hear, you know, that it's actually like, you know, a positive as well. And I guess like for a lot of introverts, it's maybe their time to, you know, it's easier for them to kind of take part in kind of bigger things. And but Atena, how are you guys cope with them?
It's about the same. We try to, you know, figure it out from individual to individual and try to find the best way for that person. We focused a lot on doing online sessions, of course, for those who want to do that. We've set up a bunch of camps, but, you know, we've also focused on doing these things internationally. So we've had, you know, camps with BeatStars. We've had camps with, you know, writers from Miami or like from our Latin office, which has been amazing. So we've tried to connect people more rather than forcing them onto sessions, and focused on just be like, hey, let's just introduce yourself to this person. Let's just have a chat, have a coffee, get to know each other. If you vibe, then, you know, if you want to work with them, do that. If you don't, then you know that, and that's fine too. So we've just tried to present them with as many opportunities as possible, and then it's been mainly up to them if they wanted to jump on it or not. But for us, the main thing has been that we need to keep them, you know, excited, creative, working, and feeling that, you know, we're all in the same boat and you're not alone. We're all feeling shitty at times, and we're all feeling at the top of the world sometimes, and it's okay. And all those emotions and feelings are fine. We're here for you, and we'll try to do whatever you need to feel good.
That's a really nice way of approaching it, I think. I just saw that there came in a question regarding like remote songwriting. So have any of your artists used any particular platforms, I guess like platforms or tools for remote songwriting that they'd recommended that we could share to the audience? I know there's been like a massive topic around about like kind of how to do camps or sessions and what kind of tools people use.
We've mainly used Zoom, actually, and that's worked really well. And for camps, I know that you can do like a breakout session where people are sort of shooted out to different rooms where they can do sessions online. And from what I've, you know, heard, I haven't tried it myself, but it works really well. Of course, there are some delays and some technical issues, but I don't think there's any way around that really. And in some cases where people have been able to work physically, it's actually been really good to have a producer and a writer in one room together and have another writer join them online through Zoom as the third writer. And then that has worked really well, actually, than to have everyone being on a link, if that has been the possibility.
Linda, you said you done. Yeah, sorry.
Go, Linda.
Yeah, I mean, we've used Zoom as well. We've used Google Meets and Teams and, you know, all of these different platforms. And I don't personally know if there's much of a difference to any of them. Quite similar in that sense. In like when COVID-19 started, there was a Norwegian platform being developed, which I do know some of our writers tried out. I can't remember the name of it right now.
Is Pedal.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I don't believe, I'm not fully sure how many are using it now. I don't think they continued using it. I'm not sure what happened with it.
It was like a version that was free, and then it started to cost money to use it.
Right.
And I think like I was early on like trying like download this one and try it out. But I think with Zoom it just happened so organically, like Atena talked about, you know, having everybody attending a camp. We had like a Tiesto camp. Everybody was on that Zoom. And then we had like different breakout rooms where we had everything scheduled. Like, okay, one producer, 2 top runners, and you know, it's really easy to really work around Zoom at the moment. So I feel a bit sad for Skype, who was part of this game for so many years, and then Zoom came and just took it on.
Good point, actually. Yeah, good point. Yeah. And I guess like, yeah, it's all about kind of the feeling in the room as well with all of these sessions, isn't it? So it's kind of, yeah.
And also it's difficult to like sit with a producer and like he's gonna just do some chords and you're gonna sing to it. So we also been like, okay, you meet up, you talk about the references, you find like common ground on what you want to make, and then you sit down and the producer gonna make something, or he has a track already made, and you send that to the writer. You meet up maybe 2 hours later and you see what the writer has brought to the table. Maybe recorded something, and, you know, to have something to start with, you know. And so there's a lot of ways to work around remote session things that I think a lot of people don't think it's possible. They just feel like, oh, it's going to lose the whole vibe of the room. But I mean, it's a lot of great things that have been happening on remote that I think people should try. If they're afraid, talk to me. I will tell you what you can do.
Nice. So with like all the COVID restrictions then, has there been any like unexpected opportunities?
I can say for us in Stockholm, there's, as most of you might know, we haven't had those harsh restrictions. We haven't really, you know, we've still been able to go out. We've still been able to, you know, most people still had sessions during this, well, not during the spring, but during the fall, after summer when things were going better. People started working more and more. And we noticed that a lot of people traveling to Stockholm, actually, because I guess that was the only place you could travel to. That was amazing. And, you know, we've had so many writers come here and, you know, artists from all over. And we were able to set up some great sessions until we had to go sort of into lockdown again. But that was an opportunity that happened because all songwriters are in Sweden. Like, Max Martin is in Sweden. Everybody's here and reachable, and it's easy to get into room with them now. So it's been very beneficial for us in that sense, which has been exciting.
Yeah, for Linda or Petter, who have been in lockdown countries. Has there been any unexpected opportunities? Petter, you mentioned the Tiesto camp. Was that something that came out of kind of like, I don't know?
Yeah, no, we did that with Tiesto and his new JV with Big Beat and Atlantic. So we just set up a camp with them. And we did that for producers as well. We had like a global producer camp where people could like meet up with T-miners or set in the kitchen, or like big US producers with more local producers around, so they could meet up and hang and get a vibe. And we did a lot of different type of camps and stuff for artists or on briefs. I mean, we're just trying to deliver something to all our writers that they felt was difficult due to no traveling. But I mean, Sweden's been really dope. I mean, a lot of people has taken the chances and went to Stockholm to work. Me and Atena have been talking a lot about different writers being in Stockholm. So, I mean, to be honest, I'm not forcing anyone to go. You know, I have a lot of respect for the Corona and COVID situation, but I mean, I cannot stop anyone from traveling either. So, yeah, I just want to make that clear.
Yeah, and I mean, there was a point of time when, like, suddenly everyone's calendars were just empty. When things started or emptier, and like Atena mentioned, having those chats and just sitting down for, you know, online coffee with different artists and writers, like those have created opportunities and possibilities that probably would not have existed without COVID. And like also people have been more open to try out, you know, collaborations because their schedules have freed a little bit. So we've had examples of some writers maybe who you could think of as like further down the ladder, collaborating with writers who have been further up the ladder and then creating amazing things. And now suddenly it's much more, you know, balanced and you know, it's all about the skills, and they've proven themselves, and a lot of exciting things are happening and have happened. So definitely there have been a lot of new opportunities.
That's really good to hear. It's good to hear that it's not kind of just stopped everything, and but that there's actually new opportunities and results coming out of it. I see that we're running out of time a bit. We have 5 more minutes. So I would if anyone have any questions, please write it in the stage chat now. I thought, while we wait for hopefully some questions to come in, I thought that we could end on a little end on a high and like a prediction of 2021. So what's your prediction for 2021, and like kind of who are the ones to watch for next year and beyond? Big question.
We've been talking a lot about female producers, so I think in general something to watch out for is female producers as a general bunch, no matter where they're from. And yeah, just to name a few, I think Minna Koivisto from Finland, Matilda from Norway, some other writers, of course I'm going to mention some writers I work with, Frida Amundsen and Peder Elias, keep an eye on them, exciting things happening, and yeah, heaps. I'm sure there's going to be loads, I don't want to, you know.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Atena, do you have any?
Well, I think that, you know, when all of this hopefully is over and there's a vaccine coming, there's going to be a euphoria of happiness and people hugging and meeting each other. And I think that's going to bring so many good things that people are just going to be excited and happy. I'm so much looking forward to that day. There are a lot of exciting things coming up. Both female producers, female writers, artists. But, you know, I think I see things happening in Denmark, and, you know, we talk often about the Danish hustle, and people are doing so many great things from there. In Norway as well, we have some exciting artists that are coming up and working on their you know, future EPs and singles. And, you know, I work with Kamara from Oslo, who's amazing. Super excited about her work that's coming out. I'm working with Becky and the Birds, who's going to release some new music soon, and she's doing amazingly. We have Mira Granberg in Sweden, who's just taking over the charts and doing everything 100% herself, climbing up top 50 and having songs with over, you know, almost 30 million streams. The future is bright, and I think everyone just should remember that, you know, when all this is over, it's going to be amazing and so awesome, and just hold on and we'll get there.
How about you, Petter?
I don't want to say too much, to be honest. You know, I think about the jinx stuff. I don't want to jinx anything, but I can say that we have some artists and writers that's not been a big part of the remote session thing, that's really been going into what they want to be as an artist, working on their artistry, the music, and it sounds amazing. So yeah, hopefully you can just hear it on radio, on Spotify. I won't say anything. I won't be secret.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I'm super excited about listening to all of the songs that's come out of these COVID sessions when they are released. I think it's going to be exciting to hear, and just to mirror what you're saying, Atena, you know, the future is bright, and very excited for 2021. I see that there's no questions. I think we're so good that we've covered all areas and no one has any questions for us. I would like to thank you all so much for taking part in this. You guys are all so brilliant, and yeah, just thank you so much. If anyone has any questions for you, I'm sure that they can reach out to you and pitch their artists and songwriters and everything.
Are you sharing our emails to the
if
people?
if I can, I will.
Yeah,
if you guys are okay with
Absolutely.
it.
Yes.
I'll do that then. I'll do that in the chat. So yeah, thank you so much, guys, and have a lovely day.
Thank you so much for having us.
You too.